A lot of us feel for Chandler. We might know exactly how it feels to be in the spotlight, having to perform in some way or the other, and feeling really uncomfortable, uneasy, and just out of our comfort zone. Maybe we say that we can't relax in front of a camera too. Or maybe we say that we can't relax in front of many people when we must communicate something. Or maybe we say we don't feel comfortable with new people or with change. Maybe we don't feel comfortable when people are very emotional or when they don't display their emotions. We tell our own life narratives, our own stories again and again about ourselves, and we often tell our stories to ourselves and others like it's universal truths. What is interesting about these stories is that they have the power to shape our future, because we are all defined by the stories we tell ourselves. From the former video with if-then strategies, you already know that our brain is excellent with stories. And we need the stories because they provide meaning to our lives. They help us to navigate in a complex world by reducing complexity. They help us also by justifying what we experience or feel and provide clarity to who we are as people. And they provide a framework upon which we can build future stories. But what happens when our stories don't serve us well anymore? What happens when we cling to an old story? It may have been comfortable or convenient at the time you created it, but over the years the story ends up being too incomplete or a psychic prison of some kind. This fits well with the saying, what brought you here won't bring you there. Before we move on, let's just see where you are on your development path. This is where you began your development path. You started with your vision and then made clear goals. Then you made the action plan to the goals and you made if-then strategies to handle the obstacles that might hit you. Now we will deal with internal obstacles in the step we call psychic prison. This last video is about two things. You will identify blind spots that can hold you back. And then it's about adjusting the stories you tell yourself so you will reach your great vision. In this video, you'll first get help to spot your blind spots. As an important part of this, we will investigate feedback, as this will make it easier for you to see what you need to work with to reach your vision and goals. Remember this drawing? Next in the video, you will investigate your stories that you tell yourself to find the ones where you put yourself in a fixed mindset. In doing so, we will build on your learnings from fixed and growth mindset from the video about setting clear goals. After helping you spotting where you have a fixed mindset or a story that doesn't work well for you anymore, I will help you change it to release your potential. However, just one word before we begin. According to the nature of this kind of work, it is important to say that a lot of us need somebody to talk to when we are working with this kind of deep reflective work. It is obvious. We can't coach ourselves. So do have this in mind, because you might get new insights through the video that you need to discuss with other people. Or maybe you need input on what your blind spots and development areas could be, because you don't really have an idea of where you should start your work. So remember to watch this video in a pace and in an order that fits your process. And remember, you are not alone. So do reach out to your leader, PNC, or your employees or others that you trust to get help. and also to secure that you have a good process. First, I will share a short story. Then we will look at reactions to feedback with the brain in mind. And then I will give you advice to how you can ask for feedback in a good way. A leader had a difficult situation with an employee since the employee stated that she was not so important as others in the team, and it affected her motivation. The leader didn't recognize this picture at all, so he went back to the employee and investigated the issue further. Through the talk, it became clear to both the leader and the employee that the feeling came from the leader's morning ritual. The leader knew that it was important to say good morning to the team, so every day he went by the team's office, put his head into the room and said his good morning. But since the employee sat just behind the door, she never really saw his face, like the rest of the team. This was something that the leader had never thought about. It can seem silly, and the employee can come across as being too sensitive. However, talking about it solved the issue. Now the leader walks into the room and makes sure to have eye contact with all his employees when he is saying his good morning. And now the employee feels seen too. I believe this little sample illustrates that we never know the effect of our actions. When we are having the best intentions, we need to engage in dialogue and feedback if we want to show Even when we have the best intentions, we need to engage in dialogue and feedback if we want to know how our words and actions affect others around us. It's especially clever to ask others for feedback when we want to grow, and in this case, reach our goals and our compelling vision. But we might not feel comfortable with feedback. And since this can be the most important thing to get in order to grow, this is where we will begin. When somebody comes and asks you if you would like some feedback, it might appear to be a really nice gesture looking from the outside. And we, of course, do what is expected of us. We say yes. And maybe, yes, thank you. However, a lot of us don't really feel well when it happens. We might assume from experience that it's going to be a negative experience. We might begin to worry about what might hit us next. And when we look into how our brain works, it makes sense. Let's take a look at our SCARF model.